Today we are going to be having the live satsang from Swamiji. But before the live satsang from Swamiji starts, as all of you may be aware, we are having almost close to 100 participants here who are participating in the second batch of Nithyananda Yogam with Swamiji. The first batch started on the day of the auspicious day of Guru Purnima, and the second batch started during the auspicious Navaratri time. And over the last month, more than a month, we have all these 100 participants, close to 100 participants who are here literally living in the breathing space of Swamiji and experiencing the same space that Swamiji enjoyed with Arunagiri Yogeshwara. And as all of you may be aware, the Nithyananda Yogam program is on an invitation basis only. So a few participants are selected and they are invited for the program, and they are all here literally living in the breathing space of Swamiji, literally living in the breathing space of Sadashiva day in and day out. Whether they are sitting for a casual session with Swamiji, or they are doing some volunteering seva work in the ashram, or they are having their meals, everything happens in the breathing space of Swamiji. So by just hearing this, I know most of you out there are really wondering what it is to live around an avatar 24/7, what it is to live in his breathing space, how does it actually feel. So we're going to have a few Nithyananda Yogam participants come forward and share their experience today, and then we'll be continuing with the Nithya Satsang for the day. So I now invite Ma Swarupa Priya and a few of the Nithyananda Yogam participants of the Navaratri batch to come forward and share your experience, enlighten the world about how it is to live with an avatar, to live with God, to live with Sadashiva, and how your experience has been. How is your journey? When you were an inner awakening participant and you were a Kotari or a Mahant or a Tanira of the Sangha, which is literally living in Sadashiva's breathing space here in Bengaluru Adina. So are you all excited? Yes? Okay, let's give a very good hand as we welcome all the Nithyananda Yogam participants who are excited to come forward and share their journey. Okay, so I invite all the Nithyananda Yogam participants of the Navaratri batch who would like to share your experience to please come up on the stage. Let's give a very good hand as we welcome all the and this fortunate batch of Nithyananda Yogam participants are not only going to be here for Sadashivoham 2016, they are literally seeing how Sadashiva is making the Sadashivoham 2016 happen. So and even though I'm literally living with them and being with them 24/7, even I'm so excited to hear what transformations journey that they have gone through, because I've known them since the time they did their inner awakening, known them since they have been in Kotari, but now as a Nithyananda Yogam participant living around Swamiji, what is their experience? I'm so excited to hear, and I'm sure all of you are. So I'm going to now invite Ma Nithya Swarupa Priyananda to come forward and lead the sharing. Thank you.
So Nithyananda. One exciting thing about this batch of Nithyananda Yogam participants is that when we were going around asking about who would like to share on the stage, who would like to speak about their Nithyananda Yogam experience, one common theme that everyone shared was that while watching Living Shuddhadvaita process, while watching Swamiji's satsang, they had seen the first batch, the Guru Purnima batch of Nithyananda Yogam participants, share about what it is to live in Swamiji's breathing space, be around him 24 hours a day, experience that closeness. And so the yearning to be here for this program was already there long before the program started. With that said, every batch is going to have unique experiences, a unique connection with the avatar, and something very beautiful in their own inner space that's transforming. So there's really not much we can say to describe their experiences. We just have to hear what each one is experiencing. So I'll pass the microphone here to Ma Ananda Kala Devi, and she can start.
Nithyanandam Swamiji. I suppose I should start with how I arrived here, because that in itself is a miracle. When I had originally decided to come just to volunteer for September, I did receive an invitation, but I had found out before I was leaving that my mother was ill. She's 89 years old and living in New York. And my daughter, who had been to Genius for the last 2 Christmases, I had promised her that we would spend Christmas in New York with Grandma and have a white Christmas. I live in New Zealand, so Christmas time is summer there. Also, I should just tell you all that I'm a film makeup designer in Hollywood, just to give you a little background, because then my story will make more sense. I had 5 friends that were coming to September Inner Awakening from Rotorua, New Zealand, and I decided I wanted to volunteer and just be there for them and be part of their transformation. And when I arrived, I knew I had been invited, but I didn't think there was any possibility for me, really, because my mother wasn't well, and I had made this promise to my daughter. I was so confused because even though we hadn't talked about the matrix then, my commitments were, I wasn't sure if they were part of the matrix, where I needed to be. I knew that working on my consciousness and being with Swamiji was the ultimate experience that shouldn't be missed, but I also felt I had to look after my mother and honor my commitment with my daughter. So the day I arrived, I was in this huge quandary, and the first thing I did was I ran up to the temple and I asked Anandeshwara and Anandeshwari if they could help me figure out and know what was the right decision. And I asked them to give me a sign. Then I ran back, and then finally we heard that Swamiji was going to meet all of us, greet all of us, and I think there were about, maybe 75 of us at that first day. And when we all sat in his courtyard, and by the way, I had never been in Swamiji's courtyard. It is so magical and beautiful. It was... it was too good to be true. When we all sat and we were quiet and Swamiji came in, and the first thing he said was, Kala Devi, you're staying for Yogam, Nithyananda Yogam, aren't you? And that was my sign. You can't get a better sign than that. and it was just, that was it. Okay. And so he looked at me and he asked me, and then I said, yes, Swamiji, there is one obstacle. He said, then I guess I'll take care of it. And I never mentioned anything. My mother, by the way, what she had was she had a blocked artery in her neck. Very, very serious. It was keeping some of the blood going to her brain. She had lost her balance and was losing her memory. And they wanted to operate immediately. And everyone was worried. My whole family was worried about this. And as soon as Swamiji said that, I went right to my telephone and I called my daughter, who's 15, and I said, would you be okay if I stayed for 3 months here and we didn't have a white Christmas, but you can have Christmas with any friend you want and I'll fly you there and I promise you'll have a better time than being with me. How would you feel if I stayed here 3 months? And she said, Mama, if that's what you want, then you do it. And so that was that. And then, about an hour later, I get a text from my brother. They had taken my mother to another specialist, and it was fine. There was no need. The numbers in which made it critical had dropped significantly, and she didn't need the operation. That was it. And I never ever asked Swamiji. I never even told Swamiji what the problem was.
Come on, there is an interconnection between
Yes, of course. Oh, so that's what every moment is like. Every moment. Being a makeup artist, of course, you know I work, well, you don't know, but I work on the biggest Hollywood movie stars. And very beautiful people. But in this program, we get to sit so close to Swamiji. I can actually look at his skin. And I can say, there's no skin like Swamiji's skin. It's so beautiful. I get to look at everything, the gold undertones of his skin. And the beard now is getting a beautiful kind of curl, shiny wave. And the hair. Everything is beyond perfection. You know, in the makeup business, they have to spend 4 hours to look decent. But here, and no matter what time of day, it's just having the eyes fall on Swamiji so close in itself. You'll hear from everyone else, we've learned so much. I think after being with Swamiji, I could be head CEO of any corporation. I know how to deal with people, to manage people, how to bring them into integrity, how to micromanage them and myself and still have a communion with them and still have them love me and I love them. Everything you can imagine we're learning here. But I'll let others speak. I just want to tell you it was the best decision I've ever made, and we have so much more to go, and I have no idea what's in store for us, but I know only more. So thank you, Swamiji. Thank you.
Nithyanandam. My name is Puryananda. I'm part of the Melbourne Adinam. And I can say that being here in the program, it is like the fulfillment of my life. It's so many clicks, so many gifts that Swamiji has been showering on us. And I like to thank every single person who got me here. Thank you, Swamiji. And I had been part of the IIT Malay and had actually spent quite some time the whole of this year. And I just came back to Melbourne and I thought, oh, the program is not going to happen to me. And it was just such a beautiful, beautiful experience to then be invited and be back. And while I was around Swamiji, previously in IA, I always thought, oh, I really want to be and sit in Swamiji's breathing space. Be there, not just for a few minutes, just be and relax. And it is such an amazing feeling how the whole being is totally relaxing and coming into that feeling of completion and love and feeling connection with myself and connection with Swamiji. There's so many clicks, particularly like when Swamiji has been talking about integrity. Integrity has been one of the things, it puzzled me in a way. I understand it's important, but how to really get there? And we have been discussing so much about integrity. And one day it clicked to me just to let go of the resistance and to see, like, if I'm Sadashiva, then exactly whatever it is I am doing for integrity is exactly what I want. And one of the highlights of this program was doing Puja to Swamiji. in the courtyard. It's so intimate. It's something that, I have done many Parapujas for Swamiji before, but that kind of intimacy, this sitting Swamiji so casually, so relaxed, is something that I feel that definitely will be with me forever. It is an experience of a lifetime. And sometimes when I think, God, wow, most of the time is almost finished with Sadashivoham coming up. And I feel, I don't really want to leave. And one other experience I actually like to share. I was always curious what the relationship is, if I had any previous relationships with Swamiji. And I never dared to ask because I thought, if he says no, I will be really disappointed. And then I thought, let me go to the Akashic readings and ask. See what Kala Bhairava has to say. And he says, no, you weren't. But you were Shiva devotee, and you had many lifetimes of seeking. And then I remembered having visions of this unfulfilled seeking within me. And I didn't quite know, was it vision or fantasy, but I realized it was true. And now every time I sit close to Swamiji, I think, wow, this life, I'm really sitting here, and Swamiji is sitting there. So it is even more precious now, every moment, that I can be here. Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Hi. My name is Akshaya Gunananda. I'm so blessed to be able to come here and be part of Nithyananda Yogam. I'm pretty sure I'm a special project here because everything aligned for me perfectly. I came to September Inner Awakening, and straight after that, I went right into Nithyananda Yogam, and right after that, I'm going to Sadashivoham. And now I just need a little bit of clarity of what I'm doing after that, because I'm staying back for another 2 months. But I just went from the best to even better, so I can't go back to even less than that. And I'm in this breathing space of Sadashiva, so I'm just kind of wondering, how am I going to stay close to Swamiji? Because I can't go from being with him every day to not being with him every day. Because literally being in this breathing space, you see literal miracles happening every day. Every day there's a Purana moment that happens. And you know that you're in a part of a special group that is going to be recorded in history and is going to be spoken about throughout the ages. And every day is just blissful. Every day you have a click. And it'll be the simplest thing in the world. Like, when I was in Canada, I thought I was going to come here and I was going to have to sit down and meditate and do tapas after tapas after tapas. I got here and literally every day feels like an inner awakening program. I feel like I'm on vacation every day. And I feel like I'm in a program, but then I realize this isn't a program. This is everyday life. This is the real life that you're supposed to be living. In Canada, it's just a Maya matrix. It's not real. This is the real life. This is the actual way you're supposed to be living. So, thank you, Swamiji, for waking me up to reality and bringing me here. And please don't ever let me go, because I don't want to go back to the matrix.
Nithyanandam. My name is Ananda Sharma. I'm from Singapore. So I was waiting for this moment. Every time I want to sit with Swamiji and gaze at him. I've been waiting for this for quite long, for many years, because I've been with Swamiji for more than 6 years. I'm working in Singapore. I couldn't make it. So I was like hesitant to come and do a volunteering. So this time, after Kumbh Mela, I left my job when Swamiji said, why you are doing this 9-to-5 job, be your boss boy yourself. So I quit my job and I was doing some small business. And the opportunity happened when I got an invitation for volunteering first. So I came for a volunteering for September IA. So I thought 21 days is great to be with Swamiji's presence. So I came, and after that immediately there was an invite for Nithyananda Yogam also. So I thought, okay, Mahadeva is giving me more time to sit with him. So I was happy and I took it off. And every day when I sit in the courtyard, I just simply melt with his smile and grace. And even when I was sitting in the extension office, I don't know how many times I go in and out because I want to have a glimpse of Mahadeva. There was no reason for
I
me.
actually sit and enjoy all this secret peeping in. I sit outside in the courtyard just to count today. 78, 79, 80. Why they walk in, nobody knows. But they just walk in. I say, come on. I have called you for this only, enjoy.
Yes, Swamiji. Nothing else was such an amazing experience for me. And sitting in the banyan tree, going in the procession, dancing together with Swamiji, and having a lovely food in the courtyard together with Swamiji. Everything is, specious to me. And I love the whole moment, my moment I'm living with Swamiji. And I also invite everyone to be part of Sadashivoham 2016 because it's going to be a greatest event in the planet Earth. So and when I came here, my bank balance was 0, but I don't know how I would make to Sadashivoham, but a miracle happened. I made it through, and I also saw my whole family is caused through miracles. They have been sponsored by someone. Yesterday my daughter was caused, earlier my wife was caused. I didn't know how it happened, but it all happened. So it's all by Swamiji's grace only. Thank you, Swamiji.
Nithyanandam, my name is Bodhana, and I'm from Ohio, USA. And I think everybody likes to hear the stories of how it happened. So I think that sometimes I see my life as, too busy to be thinking about Bidadi or this far away across the ocean. So we were having a busy week at the temple, and of course, caring for my daughter who's getting off to college is busy. So we were watching this very event, a few of us in the temple, and then we were leaving. For us, that was around 2 in the morning. And Kathy said to me, what would happen if you find out tomorrow you got invited? And seriously, I didn't have any thought except this. I said, they're never going to invite me. There's all the temple responsibilities. There's my husband. There's my daughter. It's just not going to happen. So I went home. And the next day's Sunday. Sunday at the temple is a really full day. I'm usually there till 4 continuously. So at 8, I had gone down to set up the ambassador meeting. So I was by myself, and then I thought I'll check my email, and I checked it, and there was the email, the email. And then I have to tell you what happened is I fell down backwards onto my back. I don't know what happened, but I'm reading the email, and then I'm down looking up. And I had 2 thoughts like, oh my God, and then, oh my God. They're two thought currents. This is what Swamiji's taught me so far. I need to have one. Right then I was having 2. So I ran upstairs and I told my team, and we were laughing and some crying. But the biggest thing for me is I had to wait until 4 o'clock to both tell or present it to Brian. And I know how these conversations go. So for me, it was like Christmas. I could barely get through the day. Like, come on, let's finish the Abhishekam. Come on, let's finish the meeting. Come on, I got to go home. And so then I got home, and then we had to eat. And I tried to pretend like nothing was really happening, I guess to try to make it okay that I was going to say this. So I ate really slowly, and I was like, come on, aren't you guys done eating yet? You want to? Okay, let's have their tea. Okay, let's be done. Brian finally was like, what is it? What's going on? I said, well, I got the opportunity of a lifetime. And he rolled his eyes and he goes, every opportunity for you is the opportunity of a lifetime. And he said, what, are you going to go to India? I said, how did you know? So then he said, how long? I said, 3 months. Is it okay? And he goes, I'm not going to hold you back, but like I said, for you, every opportunity is the opportunity of a lifetime. But I'm going to tell you this this is, like Puryanand said, to me this feels like the culmination. It feels like I met Swamiji in 2006. It feels like everything I've been waiting for to be here these 3 months. So thank you. So the first, I want to describe just a few highlight experiences. The first was like what Kala Devi said. We were sitting in the courtyard for this extremely intense project meeting. And Swamiji is on a swing, and he's managing 10,000 things. And he's doing it in a reclining slight position with his hair being done. And he knows every little tiny detail of each department. And if that department has forgotten it, he knows it. And he knows every large detail. And I was just watching going, oh my God, it's like, like Kala Devi said, it's like watching the master CEO in action. And because we're so close to him, literally this can be downloaded in us if that's what we want, to take this type of management away. It was the most amazing thing to watch, the relaxedness, but the, you know, he's not intense, that relaxedness is not there, but the intensity of the micromanaging of knowing every single thing in his campus here. It was the most amazing thing to experience. So then
my campus is not just this.
Oh, okay, yes. The whole, okay. Sorry for thinking small. So then the next thing is that we had some really...
You got the chance to see me micromanaging this campus.
Okay. We can apply that to the cosmos. Yeah. So we had these intense beginning causing trainings to get us up to speed, which maybe we're not there yet, with Maha Yoga. And one night she had Mahashivajnana talk to us because we're just not like getting it, we're not getting there. And Mahashivajnana, we're talking about 3 or 4 in the morning. Mahashivajnana talked about telling us that Swamiji's the fruit. And she said, you guys, he's in front of you and you're not tasting him. So I don't know how that settled with others because we're talking about causing and that might not make a lot of sense, this idea of him being the fruit and we're not tasting. But it hit me like a ton of bricks because since I arrived, I felt shy around Swamiji and I felt tongue-tied and I felt a little insecure. Not that I don't know I don't want to be here, I just get confused. And when she said, you haven't tasted the fruit, I thought, that's it. He's in front of me. I simply haven't walked forward and tasted the fruit. But it was still sitting challenging on me. I couldn't find it. So as like the others, I ran off to the Akashic readings. And I said, I feel the separation from Swamiji. Can you tell me what I need to do? And Kalabhairava said, just think of him as your father. That's all you need to do. And I was thinking, what a strange answer, like my father, because, you know, of my father. So I thought I'll just let that happen, see what happens with it. So the next precious event is when we got to watch the Matrix movie with Swamiji. And we're sitting right over here, and it was so casual. We were on the floor, and he was on just a small chair that's just off the floor. And again, he was reclining. But the joy that he had watching it, and the excitement, and every time there was a part that he loved, and he'd grab the microphone, and he'd have to give his commentary on it. I realized I felt like I was sitting with my dad at home watching a movie. It was the most beautiful, secure, relaxed thing that's happened. It was so nice. The last thing I want to talk about is that some of us have started making videos, and for me this has been the biggest platform to measure, in a way, my transformation, because there's a part of me that holds back and hides based on what I think people will think. And so really, since I've been here doing this, I've said some things straight out in my videos that haven't been, it's not that it's hard for me, it's I worry about what my mom and Brian and some other people will think. So I feel like Michael said, I really feel like I'm in the real universe, and where I was is this weird planet where it's filler time. This is fulfillment, and that's filler, and here I'm willing to speak out of what is fulfillment. and there I'm just kind of hiding, you know, with this filler stuff. So it's been really powerful and transforming for me to make these videos and to talk straight out about what is important to me, what I'm believing in, and I really am grateful for that opportunity. Swamiji said in the webinar, maybe he said it to us, he said he wants us to really get this so that we can go back and be a captain of our ship. And I've had several Akashic readings trying to understand who I am. Why did I come in this body, not in India? Why did I live in the United States, not in India? And the answer that I got is that I chose to be in the United States to move forward into Hinduism, to bring the maximum number of people there. When I heard this, it gave me a completely different context of being here with Swamiji, that I've already chosen, therefore I'll go back, and I don't know how to describe it. It's before, like, what does Swamiji want for me? You know,
I have decided, now I know why I decided. I have decided, so it's giving me this, I don't know, I just have this strength and purpose. I know I'm going back, I know I'm going to be the captain of my ship. I know that I'm going to be enriching so many people. Thank you. You decided, now you know why you decided.
I didn't tell you all. I asked what my connection with you was. It said that I was a priest. I was Sadashiva's priest.
And surely kids do not know you are doing puja there in Ohio?
Nithyananda.
The Ohio deity is the first Sadashiva deity I carved. After the realization of Sadashivatva, the first Sadashiva deity I carved is Ohio deity. Actually, I wanted to keep it here in Biddi. Then I decided the Biddi is going to be in Panchaloka, Panchadhatu. So I sent this murti to US, and Ohio got the, because Ohio is the first temple we had. We have started in US. It is not LA. Please understand, Ohio is the first temple. LA was second only. That is the reason Ohio got the deity.
And yesterday in the meeting, Ma Snehami said to the causers, she said, you know, when I came, I just jumped in. What happened for me when Swamiji came to Ohio, I was watching them, Ma Prabha, Ma Snehami, Meda, Swami, all of them. I just watched them just jump and be there 24/7, working nonstop. And I made the decision right then, that's who I am, that's what I'm going to be. So just jump, all of you. Jump as intensely as you can. It's an amazing opportunity.
Nithyanandam, this is Ma Shakti Rupa. Actually, what I can say is, when they actually first announced that Nithyananda Yogam participants are going to share, literally even we did not know. Like, they just announced and we're like, oh, okay, let's go. So there are just so many things we can share from the day it started to now. Actually, I was just telling Paramashivam just yesterday, it literally doesn't even feel like we're in India. It feels like we're in a different zone or planet. It doesn't feel like we're connected to that planet or country even. So since the day we got here, every moment just being with Swamiji, being in the courtyard, being in his breathing space, and just sitting in his presence, walking around, eating lunch there, it's a whole new experience. Swamiji was explaining about integrity. He was saying integrity means no second thought current. And I felt like it was such a deep definition of integrity, because before this it was always the words you give yourself and others. It almost felt like rule-based. But for this to even have this context, you have to have such a deep connection to Swamiji, such a love for Swamiji, where you don't feel that you need to even have a second thought. So I feel like in this Nithyananda Yogam program, that is what is happening for me. I'm not even having a second thought current. So that's the Nithyananda Yogam for me. Thank you.
Nithyanandam. I'm Dr. Shanti from Bangalore. When I saw the invite mail that I've been invited for Nithyananda Yogam, I just can't express the feelings that I had. My many lifetimes dream has come true to be with my source, Swamiji, and he heard my prayers and he made it. It is not that we have some qualification or we deserve, nothing like that. It's just his pure love that being showered on every single being. And being here, as my friends shared, it's a different loka. There is no day or night. Every time the whole area is bubbling with energy. Every particle here, the sand, the flowers, the leaves, the cows, every single structure and being here is radiating Swamiji's love. At this moment I would like to share, on the day of Brahmopadesham, actually I just stayed back in the courtyard for organizing the Akashic records. All these participants who were initiated for Gayatri initiation for the first time, when they were walking back, after Swamiji walked back, they were all looking like gods and goddesses walking. The previous day I was with them at the temple. What I saw the previous day and the next day was totally different. Every being had taken a new birth. They received Brahmopadesham from Brahman himself. What more we can have as human beings? Swamiji's love for every single being continuously being showered wherever we are, whatever we are doing with all our incompletions or whatever conflicts. The moment we come here in his breathing space, whatever needs to be removed, the moment I asked Swamiji what the incompletions or the conflicts which I face in my spiritual life, in my personal life, please bring it out. I don't know how to do it. I'm not able to find out. Just the thought happened. Immediately, all the incompletions started coming up, and it went on and off for 48 hours. And on the day when all the Ranjani Akada, Niranjani Akada people had come, during Rudrabhishekam, the whole incompletion which was sitting as a relationship issue with my spouse, it came up like a huge solidified ice being melted. Every single emotion, just the prayer, that's it. It just melted, and my being was so light and so much of celebration and so much of joy, excitement, 24 hours. Out there, I used to struggle for the morning daily routine. If I do yoga, I miss puja. I do it later at 11 o'clock. Here, it just happens effortlessly. 4:30, just the being wakes up and be here for yoga, puja, and the procession which starts from Rajasabha to the temple with the Nija Padukas is the real sight to see. What Swamiji says, the wealth of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Vedic way of living, has to be seen and celebrated being here every moment. It is with the colorful umbrellas, all age group, starting from 6-month-old baby to 90-year-old lady, walking with the same excitement, same joy, effortlessly to go to the temple, and that arghya which we offer, how beautifully it is made in minute detail. All the components are, integrated, and the Gurukul Balasans offers it with the same love which Swamiji is. It's such a joy to receive it from their hand and offer it to Padukas and have the sparsha of the Padukas. It's such a joy, Swamiji. Thank you so much for continuous showering. And the greatest blessing I feel is you are all the time listening to Swamiji's talk, his voice, his laughter, even though we are having some issues with causing. As I'm talking to the other person who is being caused, suddenly we hear Swamiji's voice and he's walking. I know he's blessing and he is doing, at the same time, he is the connecting energy, the beautiful blessing he is making, and both the beings are elevated from wherever we are. And I tell them, when I tell them, see, Swamiji is walking, that being simply just, is out of deep gratitude, he says, I'm so lucky to hear that Swamiji is walking there and I'm being called. They all know it is Swamiji's call. And it's such a beautiful experience being a causer And out there, I never had the confidence, and so many times it would never go up to the full causing. Here, it just happens. Remembering Swamiji and calling, the being is enriched, and very soon the HC and FC is happening. It's an amazing experience being here. We are all so blessed to be in his breathing space and having his darshan and listening to him all the time. Thank you, Swamiji.
Nithyanandam. Nithyanandam Swamiji. Nithyanandam everyone. I just want to say, like what Sharvaya was saying just now, I'm one of the secret persons who actually walk through the courtyard just to have a glimpse of Swamiji. Every time there's anyone asks, any help from the courtyard, kitchen especially, and I'll just jump in and just go there, just because I can see Swamiji and be there and have a glimpse of him. And also, just like Ma Shakti Rupa just said, this was really candid. They didn't tell us that we're going to do this session today, and they just announced, and I was the first one to jump, not actually to come up and just sit by Swamiji, just to sit on the stage with Swamiji. It's amazing actually to be in his breathing space. It's really, really unimaginable. I just want to say, before I came here, for me to actually get 3 months off my work, it really was almost impossible. But of course, with Swamiji, nothing's impossible, right? And I went to approach my boss and said I needed 3 months off. And of course, I said it was a family issue. Everyone of you here is my family. And I really need to go and see my family. And my boss actually said, and I told him that, it's a 3 months, and I understand there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I'm willing to actually resign my job. And he actually said, no, please do not do that. I will actually speak to the HR, and he actually went to speak to the HR, and the HR actually, and he came back and said, don't worry, I'll give you in staggered, like I give you a pay, I'll continuously give you pay, but I can't give you the whole full month's pay, but I'll keep on giving you pay. So I actually went with willing to actually resign my job, but I got 3 months leave. On top of that, I actually even got my pay as well. So that's amazing. Only with Swamiji's grace. It just only happens with Swamiji. And sitting in the courtyard with Swamiji, and I'm always trying, the first one who wants to jump and sit beside Swamiji. It's really, really totally different from you sitting in the audience and sitting beside Swamiji. The amount of energy Swamiji radiates, and it really is a little bit intimidating, but if you just go across that and just sit beside him and just spend time beside him, you'll see what it is. And like what Ma Puriya shared as well, and Swamiji, the amount of decisions he makes in a day, hundreds, thousands maybe, I don't know, but he's making it from such integrity, and that, so much of responsibility when he even says any word. And you can't imagine, like Swamiji was speaking about decision fatigue, right? And he was saying how, we make 5 decisions in a day, and straight away we feel so tired, But if you look at Swamiji, the amount of decisions he's making, and the amount of responsibility he's taking, and he's responsible for every word he says, obviously. It's amazing. It's just, it makes you see Swamiji telling you something about, making decision fatigue. That is one thing. But sitting beside him day in, day out, and looking at him actually making those decisions, it's mind-blowing. It's really mind-blowing, and it does something in your inner space. It just makes you, and Swamiji spoke about integrity as well. And like everyone was saying, I was one of the persons who, will find it a bit difficult to get up in the morning to go yoga, and like Ma Shakti Rupa will know, I got knocking on my door a few times to wake up to go for yoga. But sitting beside Swamiji and him explaining about integrity, and he was saying, this has nothing got to do with discipline. Don't you know, I'm doing this for you guys. I want you to actually, and he's really speaking to each one and every one of us. He's really, really interested in every one of us to raise. So I'm still working on my integrity. Right now, I'm actually taking attendance for everyone, believe it or not. And there is different levels of integrity, and I'm really raising myself to that, and Swamiji's really, really, really serious about manifesting powers. he wants us to manifest powers, and I'm definitely going to manifest the powers. Swamiji, please do bless me too. I want to make it happen. And just to explain to you, the courtyard is a magical place. Like every time you sit there, it's really like a totally different universe, like different loka. And even from the birds, the sparrows that come and eat the grains, and they hang these grains, and there Swamiji hangs this for the birds to actually come and eat the grains, and the grains actually fall on you when you're sitting there. It's just such a magical experience. And you really, if you've been called, do not miss it for anything. If you resign your job or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's something that you cannot miss. And I just want to say about Sadashivoham as well. Before, when I came here, we were told that Sadashivoham, all Nithyananda Yogam participants, Swamiji said that we're going to experience all that's going to be given, right? All the alchemy product and all that stuff. So I was thinking, oh yeah, so I don't have to go for Nithyananda Yoga. Maybe I'll just volunteer, right? But the amount of things that Swamiji is actually doing, the amount of work Swamiji is actually putting in, the amount of, so many details, the amount of things he's taking care of each and one participant that's going to come for Sadashivam is unimaginable. And just by hearing that, I just said, I need to cause myself, and I'm coming. And whatever that you think you're spending $13,000 or $12,000, it's really nothing from what Swamiji is actually going to give you for Sadashiva. And not only from the things, it's everything else. It's just beyond the mind, and I'm really looking forward to it to see what more it's going to be. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you for everything.
Nithyanandam, everyone. Nithyanandam Swamiji. So actually, my name's Sahadeva, and I'm a student, or was a student until I asked Kalabedaba if I should start a business and drop college after Nithyananda Yogam, and they said, just drop it, become a business owner. So for me, I guess the biggest thing that I've learned so far is, who is Swamiji? And someone actually said, I know Swamiji, but then he told them, you don't know me at all. And I completely agree. There's so many dimensions of him that have opened up through his storytelling and even through how he described the 25 states of consciousness. I asked Swamiji, I said, so what state are you taking us in Sadashivoham? And he said, Turiyatita, which is the final state of consciousness. So, just to give you guys a little story, he explained when Arunigishwara was teaching him about the Navagrahas, the 9 planetary energies, while he was sitting down with him, he had actually brought down the planets and taught him. And I was thinking, okay. And then he went on more into the story, and Swamiji had said, he had asked Arunigishwara, so if the planets are here, why isn't everyone else in the world noticing it? He said, I told him to look down. I'm teaching you here. Enjoy. Come on. So just imagine that scale, the power that Swamiji is going to be, pushing through us. And that story really hit me. It drove down, there's all these dimensions about Swamiji that we do not understand. But the more time you spend with him, and it opens you up to realize these stories. And I think that for me is just unraveling who is Swamiji, who am I, and another thing, spending time with the Balasans here. It's so amazing. Literally, when I look at them, I just smile. I can't help but smile. There's just so much bliss radiance.
Even I can't help smiling. When I look at them, even I can't help. They are going to be the number 2 attraction of the whole Nithyananda Sangha. See, naturally number 1 will be Swamiji. With all due respect, I don't want to disrespect in any way. Even the Golden Temple is going to be number 3. The number 2 is going to be Balasans. You may be thinking, number one naturally will be Swamiji in Sangha. So number two will be Golden Temple. No. The number of people who are going to come are the center of the attention, attraction, all that. The number two is going to be Balasans and Gurukul. Number three only will be Golden Temple. Because temples, every street we have in India, and every bigger city in Tamil Nadu has a bigger temple than what we are planning here. Of course, ultimately this is going to be the largest temple, that is different. Temple, we are habituated. This Balasans and Gurukul is the new contribution by me to the whole Sanatana Hindu Dharma.
I think one of the moments that I really cherish here is actually spending time with the Balasans during kirtans. I just fall into such a deep ecstasy. All the moves that we do, all the movements, it takes you to such a high space. And I think that bliss just radiates throughout the day. So yeah, those are the main points for me. Is Nithyananda Yogam is definitely the dimensions of Swamiji and the Balasans, who are completely amazing. Thank you.
Nithyanandam, I'm Bhuvana Mami from San Jose. I'm just not actually sure how I'm here. I've been wanting to come to see Swamiji since July, because I was having some personal issues and conflicts, and I wanted to come and get his blessings that time. And Ma's name literally kept me there. She said, no, you shouldn't go now, it's not the time. And then suddenly, it was the LSB when Ma Jnanatma Swami, was talking about the Nithyananda Yogam program, and then everyone was giving, the previous batch was giving, they were talking about their experience. And I was talking to Kripanidhi, and I told him, I so much want to be there. I know it's by invitation. And I have so many things to take care. I can't leave my 11-year-old and go. So, maybe someday I'll get invited. And I also said that it would be so nice if I can be in this batch. My birthday falls in November. How wonderful it will be to spend that day with Sadashiva, the avatar. It is like, so Kripanidhi was like, Ma, just hold on, it's by invitation. And the next day, it was 7 in the morning, I make my South Indian coffee. Without that, I don't do anything. I took a cup of coffee, and then I came and looked at the email, and I saw from Ma Jnanatma an invitation. I was like, no, it's maybe my dream. I talked to Kripanidhi. That's reflecting. So I'm like, it cannot be. And then I read it like maybe 10, 15 times. I kept on reading. Then it's like, then right away I was like trying to call Ma's name, everyone. I'm like, what am I going to do? And then I was like just walking here and there, and I didn't even think about anything else at that moment. And I replied right away, I am going to be there with Sadashiva. This is the best, thing maybe I have been waiting for, don't even know how many janmas. So it was like, more than me, Sadashiva came and picked up my hand from where I was, and he literally brought me here because he saw what my purpose in my life was and what I've been doing. So it was like I wasn't going, it was he came, took my hand and just brought me here. So when I came here, I went to Akashic reading and I asked them, I said, I have attended only one IA, it was Nithyananda Yogam, And before that, I came to the temple once, and I was in Kumbh Mela in LA, which I drove the night, and then I came back the same day. It was like 11 hours. I drove. I cannot even believe I did that. So, and I asked them, and then I was in Kumbh Mela. After 2 months, I was in Kumbh Mela, and then 4 months, I'm here. So, it's like, I was like, what is going on? It's just that even though I was there, all the time I was just thinking of Swamiji. So, you know, you all have the same experience, I'm sure. So, so he said, you were a devotee during Arunagiri Yogeshwara time. I was just like, and then I was like 20,000 years probably. And then I said, what was I doing after that? He said, you're here now. That's what matters. Why are you looking at what happened between then? I said, I wasn't there during the time. And he said, you were there with Sadashiva and now you're back with Sadashiva. So enjoy. So thank you, Swamiji. It's a lot of transformation. Lots have been happening to me. And I'm living here, these few months itself, I see how beautiful, how fulfilling it is to be out of Maya matrix and then be with Sadashiva. So I want to carry this, and once I'm back home in USA, I know that you know, getting back into a Maya matrix is just never going to happen. Maybe I'm going to be pulling people out of the Maya matrix and getting them here. So that's what my mission is going to be. And one last thing I want to say is, when I was asking Swamiji, I want to do a kitchen in the courtyard, he said, you be grounded and take responsibility. That has been, the moment Swamiji said that, something just happened in my whole being. Because that moment I started to really look at my life. The whole thing that was missing is me not being grounded and not taking that responsibility, which I should have. So, being in the Sangha, I do a lot of things, but I never really took up that I am responsible 100%. Mas Nehemai had been talking to me about Gurukul. I was kind of like little bit, oh, I don't know, you know, it's kind of, I'm going through, you know, this thing, that problem. But when Swamiji said that, the deep desire, you know, that belief which was inside me just came, and then I went and told Mas Nehemai, I want to take up Gurukul in San Jose. And I want to make it so big, that's going to be my biggest mission when I get back. And this time, it came from the being. It was just that whole transformation started to happen, and now I see myself more and more just, you know, being integrated, and even coming for puja, everything. I just see a tremendous shift in that, and I'm looking forward to coming and spending here.
I wanted it to be like a mainstream, legally accredited school.
Yes, Swamiji. Thank you so much, Swamiji, for the blessings. And I'm looking forward and spending a lot of my time here.
The syllabus will be Hinduism, but completely accredited.
Thank you, Swamiji. The Nithyananda Yogam batch, which are, the next one, do not miss this. Everything else will try to stop you. Get out of Maya matrix and be here, the home of Sadashiva. That's the purpose of all of us, and every human being we come across. This is the message we have to somehow give them, to help them get out of the Maya matrix and be with Sadashiva. Thank you.
Nithyananda, my name is Jordan Kremer. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, and I thought Swamiji's first words were, we were all sitting in his courtyard, and all of a sudden he just, you know, glides right into the room, and he just sits down and he goes, "Welcome home," and it was just this. an experience in 2 words. Just you can't even describe it. And to even sit here and think about what you're going to talk about, you can't, because it's such a raw experience. It's
That's the right word. Such raw experience.
And then
see, I don't even care about the way I sit there. The way I sit, or way I lean, or way I stretch my body, the way the cloths are organized or disorganized, or shrunk, folded, all that. It's a raw way of tasting me as I am, how I tasted Arunagiri Yogeshwara.
I can sit any day and just wonder, like, what am I doing here? Like, how did I deserve this? And it just doesn't make sense. I've lived 2 lifetimes already in this one birth, and the first half definitely did not deserve these types of blessings. And but the fact that I'm here, obviously, I must have done something pretty good in my past life. So I'm pretty happy about that. But to be sitting here and to be in Swamiji's home and be a part of the Sangha's home and to embrace that lifestyle is truly, it's such a breath of fresh air. Because I mean, being from the West and being raised in the Matrix and being around people that just don't get it. They don't get what we're going through, and they don't get that, you know, there's such a different side to the world and to the cosmos, and to finally have a family here that's, you know, obviously led by the Cosmic Father, as Swamiji likes to put it, and to be guided by all of his devotees and disciples, and just to be here it's an experience that you cannot put into words. And to be able to just be a part of this family and to be welcomed with such open arms, it's truly a blessing. And you know, whatever doubts that you have, it's like, it doesn't matter. One thing I've learned pretty quickly was just by saying yes to Swamiji is all you need. You know, like I'm a hockey player by nature, and I've been really questioning, like, why am I here? You know, like, why should I be playing hockey? Like, I should be surrounding myself with those I want to be like. And you know, in a dressing room, it's not exactly the type of atmosphere that's you're going to get here. And so I've been really contemplating on whether I should be playing or not, and so I asked Swamiji one day, I'm like, should I come and take Ananda Yogam and just not play hockey anymore? And he said, take Ananda Yogam, it would be best. And so I decided to come, and before I took off on the flight, I was introduced to this Nithyananda Yogam program. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is, but to have this experience now, it's like, it's to give up whatever you think you're giving up. You're not giving up anything. Like, you think you're giving something up, and he's showering more on you. And so to have that is truly amazing. And I mean, he's truly training me. He's training everybody here on stage. He's training everybody that's in his breathing space to become a god. And if you want to become a CEO, like greater than Richard Branson, like you should see him at work. The way he operates this organization is absolutely phenomenal. And the Balasants as well. I mean, I have a little bit of a strategy. I'm trying to befriend them all, so when they're becoming enlightened, they'll just come and remember me and help me out through that process. But yeah, to dance with them and to be in their breathing space as well, it's pretty cool. And so to say that, you know, you should come and experience this, or if you have that opportunity and you turn it down, that would be the biggest mistake of your life. So thank you, Swamiji, so much for bringing me here.
Nithyanandam. So I'm sure so many people out there are now just waiting and praying and hoping and doing whatever pujas and abhishekams they can do to be invited for the next Nithyananda Yogam batch. And I think one amazing thing that this particular group of Nithyananda Yogam participants witnessed, you've heard so many of them mention asking Kala Bhairava a question. And I remember back in 2012, 2013, asking Kala Bhairava a question meant that Swamiji would be standing. Kala Bhairava would be filling Swamiji's form, of course one of his own forms. And there we would get the chance to ask a question to Kala Bhairava and receive an answer. And it was a rare occurrence, maybe once every inner awakening, people could ask a question to Kala Bhairava. It wasn't something available for everyone. It was for IA participants. And now, Swamiji has initiated the Balasants of the Gurukul to literally read the Akashic records. And every single morning after satsang, for 1 hour, they're sitting on stage, just as I think it was Ma Puriyananda mentioned, or maybe it was Ma Bodhana. They're dressed like deities. The way we see them walking, we see deities walking. Oh no, maybe it was Dr. Shanti who said it. I think we're all thinking it, so it's hard to know who says what. When we go for these Akashic records readings, I can tell from my personal experience, I've interacted with these Balasants on a daily basis for maybe a year now, and they're all divine just in any given moment. I've never seen any of them frowning or fighting or arguing with each other. They're always radiating bliss. But the energy that they express when they're sitting to do the Akashic record reading is at a whole other level. And I was discussing this with some of the Nithyananda Yogam participants. When the Balasants smile during, for example, the kirtan, the dancing in the morning, or during the procession to the temple, or in any other part of the day's routine, it's a smile of very ecstatic joy, but it has a sort of a human friendliness quality to it. When we go for the Akashic record, it's a very subtle smile of compassion. The expression on their face is the expression we see on Swamiji's face when we come for energy darshan. And the moment you ask a question, the moment you see the Balasant in that state of entanglement or that state of oneness with Swamiji himself, with Sadashiva, with Kala Bhairava, you know for sure the answer being given is not coming from the child. It's really the cosmic archive being revealed to you, the Akashic record being read by Kala Bhairava. So for this Nithyananda Yogam batch, really we were here for such a historical happening. And luckily there are still more and more historical happenings yet to take place. I mean, Swamiji has already mentioned that he's going to initiate the participants of Sadashivoham 2016 into the same Shaktis, the same powers, including reading the Akashic records. We all see the greatness, the excitement, the glory of the Akashic records when the Balasants are reading them for us. But one question I've heard from a lot of people is, can we also do that? So through the spiritual alchemy products that Swamiji is creating, and of course the energy that he radiates, his initiation, I think I speak for all of us here when I say, you don't know what you're missing if you haven't been here yet. And even we don't know what's in store for you because it's about to be something that even those of us sitting on this stage, with the exception, of course, of Sadashiva himself, even we have yet to experience. So please don't miss Sadashivoham 2016. It's going to be too powerful, too great, and like everyone here, you'll also get to be in the breathing space of Sadashiva in form, and in the company of his great Balasants, the second attraction to this Adinam. It'll be too wonderful. Please don't miss it.
Yes. With this, I bless you all because now we have a next long process. All the Nithyananda Yogam participants gather in the courtyard for a special alchemy process. Now the next power manifestation. And all the Adinavasis also, please gather there. Let's gather in the courtyard. Balasans can continue with your routine, but the Adinavasis and Nithyananda Yogam participants, please gather in the Adigaranandi's courtyard. My blessings. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam, the eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.